Hello and welcome back to another Get to the Roots Extras, or if this is your first time here, welcome to the podcast, broadcast, the fan service for all of my amazing and most talented friends and associates here in St. Petersburg, Florida, Tampa Bay, Florida, beyond Florida, up there in Quebec, wherever in the world you are. If I know you and I like you, I might talk about you, especially if you're making something. Today, we are going to be talking about the musical artist A B3ing, and we have audio clip interviews from A B3ing specifically for this podcast episode today. I keep trying to say broadcast. It's because I do a broadcast. And record scratch. Anyway, we're 45 seconds in. We need some music. We need a clip. Let's hear it, A B3ing. You're going to love this. Trust me.
I like to watch the way the headlights play.
That was just a taste of Between the Here and Now by A B3ing, and we need to hear from her. But first, we're going to do a little bit of an introduction of how I met this incredible musician and who was responsible for that. Also, I just need to tell you that I'm not doing it justice, but that riff in the chorus of Between the Here and Now, every time I hear it, all the little dopamine molecules in my brain light up and go, yes! Yes, this is what I've wanted in every song in my life. I don't know what it reminds me of, but it reminds me of some other piece of music that I know that I loved in my youth, like when I came of age in that 90s, 2000 era. I have no idea what it is. Maybe it was just like the idea of a song, but I really like that part. And that's why I chose to start with the clip from that specific part of her song. But I am babbling, and I should be babbling about our guest of honor today, not our guest of honor, our guest of honor today instead. So I met the amazing and lovely recording artist A B3ing through my dear friend Fiona Frenchy and this cool afternoon that Fiona put together to connect women of song, because Fiona was doing a show at the time called Women of Song, but it's not just a radio show. I mean, it's not a radio show anymore, but it's like an idea of like these women interacting with song or creativity or putting things out in the world. And so being a professional musician, of course, Fiona's got all these contacts and friends within her world, the creative world, the dynamic. And I had never met the musical artist known as A B3ing before this, and when I met her, I was like, oh, she's really cool. Hell yeah. And one of the first things that she told us all as a group when she was introducing herself was that not only is she a digital music recording artist who makes all of her own music and who sings, she at one point in her life did the voiceovers at Macy's. And I kid you not, listeners, this amazing woman that I had just met just goes, welcome shoppers, and then, or attention shoppers. And it sounded just like the woman from Macy's, because A B3ing was that woman at Macy's that did those lines. I don't know if it was I don't remember if it was recorded or not. But anyway, I just think that's so cool that one of the first things I learn about this amazing musical artist is that not only have they done work with their voice and singing, but they also did voiceover work for a company. It's kind of like when I learned that Steve Harvey used to do jingles. I'm like, that makes so much sense. Also, wow. Also, I like these jobs and I don't want AI to take them, because how cool is that to be that type of person? But I am babbling too long, so let's hear from A B3ing. And the first thing that I wanted to know was about her name. Like, why? Why are you A B3ing? Why aren't you something else? And let's hear what she has to say about that. Also, thank you so much, A B3ing, for coming on my show. You're awesome. Everyone I get to talk to and talk about is so awesome, and I cannot hide my joy ever, because so neat.
So, what's in a name? A lot, apparently. And I have chosen a name that is quite difficult, because unless you say A B3ing really carefully, it sounds like I'm a legume, a bean. But why did I do that? Well, I'm more than a human being, and I am not the being or the only being. I'm just a being. But why the 3? If you just hear it, you don't know there's a 3 in it, but it's spelled A space B3ing. So why the 3, especially since when people read it, they don't know how to pronounce it. They just say B3ing? So the 3 is for the 3 simultaneous levels of existence. 1, this is. You just accept it. You don't question it. It's here. What you going to do about it? Level 2, we are. We are each of us real, unique beings. But most people stop there. Level 3 is B, act to become fully realized. And I don't mean this in the sense that you get all wrapped up in yourself and everything becomes about you and your personal spiritual journey. I mean becoming fully realized as your unique self within the context of this place that we're in. This is, we are. Now act to become fully realized, a fully integrated part, a fully functioning part, a part that elevates this and moves it forward. And in addition, the B is about looking beyond, because there is more to each of us as a being than just what we can see here. So yes, overthinking philosophy, but that's where my name comes from.
Bean. I never was in that camp, but the first time I played Dream Serum to end my Radio St. Pete show, because we end on an instrumental, I did think that her artist name was A B3ing, and I had no idea the woman behind that enchanting music that I was using in my show. I heard about her music from Fiona before I met her, because Fiona was one of my first contacts at the radio. And she's like, "Oh, you'll probably like this." And I was like, "I do like that." And to this day, that is one of the most common or it's not a song, the most common instrumentals I use to end my broadcast, because being a folk music show, as you can tell, A Being's music does not exactly fit that mold. It's much more it's not folk music, is all I'm trying to say. It's more it's like progressive, and I just want to make sure, like, when I do things for my listeners, that it's like for the listeners. But yes, so not a B3ing, although sorry, I was totally in that camp at first as well. And that was a selection from Dream Serum. But don't go anywhere. It's not the end, because we haven't heard all that we're going to hear from A Being today. Also, I just want to say that initially after that clip, I did laugh. I was laughing at the beginning of what she was saying, how she's not a legume. But I think it's very important that we think about our names in this world. We think about who we go by and what it means. And I personally love hearing that. And hopefully, if you're listening to this, you will love hearing that too. Fiona and I once got to ask both Annika Sky and Ren McLean, two other female musicians from the St. Petersburg area, if they had like intention behind their music, and or what they thought much about the intention behind the music. And these are two very young musicians. And they were like, absolutely, we have to have intention behind our work. And not only behind your work, but also behind your name and who you are in this world. I recently went back to like my original preferred nickname in life, because I felt as though recent people in my life kind of had robbed me of my identity, the name that I went by for so long before this. And I went back to like my birth name, and I never used that name before, and I was like, I'm reclaiming it. And I'm like, I don't like that name. I'm going to go back to like my real name, and it has meaning to me. And so the fact that A Being broke down like the philosophy behind her name, I personally, as a fellow woman that likes to overthink things, like, I think that's awesome. I think that's great. That's something that she can keep in mind every time she creates music or puts something beautiful out into the world. And just like this program is out there to help support and share love and enthusiasm for others and expose listeners to something they may not know about, that's also putting that out into the world. And that is the intent behind this. And I love the name Get to the Roots. J. Cole came up with that name for like the radio show, but I wanted to keep it for this as well. That's why it's like an extra piece of it, Get to the Roots Extras, because I love the idea of getting to the root of something. I think that is so meaningful, and I find myself whenever I'm around different people now, I'm like, "We gotta get to the root of this," and I just, like, think of my show and think of this, and I'm like, "The roots, they're important." So, why don't you take it from here, Being? Because I am babbling again, and this broadcast is about you and your work. Sorry, guys, I just talk a lot.
Now, genre. People ask me, what kind of music do you do? Oh, good question. That is a problem for me because each of my songs mixes together a different mix of genres. I don't do it on purpose. I'm not trying to be impossible. It's just the way my brain works. At one point, I considered calling myself Blenderhead for this exact reason. But what I've decided is to call this genre fluid. And that leads to the next problem, marketing. How do I market myself when the type of music or the combination of genres in one song doesn't translate to the next song? You know, I've got a song that is sort of cloud hip hop mixed with R&B, mixed with some electronica, and then I've got a neoclassical tune that includes organic and electronic instruments that is also kind of film music, and I just kind of go all over the place. It's not intentional, just the way the music comes to me. So I've kind of I've kind of really given myself a problem with my name, with my lack of a consistent genre or a recognizable even mix of genres. And that makes it difficult to market because each song would potentially have a different market. So that's why I put all my stuff out as singles.
Yeah, but that is so freaking cool to have your music go with how your brain goes, to cross genres, to what do they call it in food? They call it fusion in food. Like when there's two different styles of food coming together, if you have like Thai Mexican, it's like Thai Mexican fusion. Also, I just gotta say, I love the name Blenderhead, but I think a being is more lovely and more magical and more meaning behind it, as we just discussed. And I know that she's here talking about, the problems, and I just switched from second person back to third person. But every problem is just a solution that's just spun around the wrong way. Being unique in this world is hard, and it's getting harder every single day because there's two forces working against each other. First, we have the idea that everything that's been done has already been done. I think the Beatles said that. Everything that's been done has already been done. Yeah, I'm great at tunes. That's totally how that song goes. And then we also have the idea that you don't want to be too different. When you do content creation now, they say make it the same but different. But that can get so boring. Also, how do you make something the same and you make it different? You got to replicate your success. What if your success is just like something so different and wild and out there? Then you can't just the next thing, if it's like that, then it kind of dampers and takes away from the original thing because it's no longer different and wild and out there. It's just more of the same. So I know that it is a problem to market yourself and to get your stuff out there in the world as a musician, as any sort of creative. But I mean, I love the fact that a being is just taking her own path, even though that it's causing problems, even though it's unconventional. She's taken a different path, and there are different doors to success. There's the first door where you suck up to people. There's the second door where you just have money already and you say, I take this money and I make it make me successful. And then there's the third door where you just kind of take a chainsaw to the wall, you open up that door and you say, hey, I'm in the success club too. And they're like, "Oh my god, how many trees did you cut through on the way here?" "None. This chainsaw plants trees." Anyway, like for example, my method of success is just being completely insane. And that's who I am, and that's how my brain speaks to me and how I hope it's speaking to you. But let's hear yeah, you know what? Let's hear another clip from another song because we just heard about how her musical style is so different. And I want you to be enlightened even more, not just from our talk today with the being, but also from more of her music. So let's hear some of The Only Thing to Fear.
The only thing to fear is fear itself. The only thing to fear is fear itself. Give it. Something's out there waiting. Don't tear me apart without caring.
Now, this most recent song, Between the Here and Now. Philosophically, lyrically, it's about that instant between the here and now, and then the next instant, and then the next instant, where there is no future and no past. There's only right now, and that means that all things are possible. I try to, through the music, present that as a feeling of flying, floating, dancing free. You've got nowhere to go, that you have to be. You're whatever you want to be, wherever you want to be. This is your instant, your moment. But how do I describe the song musically? Well, I guess it's better that I let other people describe it musically because clearly I have no musical boundaries. So what I'm hearing from reviewers is everything from synthwave pop to futuristic trip hop to electronic soul to hints of Afro pop. It's kind of all over the place. And that's fine by me. I like that. I love that everybody hears something in it that they can relate to. So if I could achieve that on every song, wow, that would be awesome. That would be magic.
You're magical, A B3ing. You are magical. The end. End of story. You're a magical person putting magic out into the world, and I hope that more people hear your music, A B3ing. I hope that all of you guys listening at home or in your car or at work or wherever you are, that you enjoy A B3ing's music as well. Find her information in the description of this podcast, broadcast, whatever this is. If you want to find me online, why I'm not making cool stuff like A B3ing, like Fiona Frenchie, like Ryan McLean, like Annika Sky, like June Bunch, like Deb Ruby, like Jerome Savoy, like Darla from Wildly Inspired. I'm not making cool stuff like Honeybee either, but I'm here and I am Sparkle Weather on some of the artistic print on demand, TikTok, that sort of stuff, Instagram. I think I'm Sparkle Weather stickies right now because apparently I like my fingers all sticky. But now, also, I'm on Radio St. Pete on Wednesdays from 3 to 5 p.m. playing folk music from local musicians. And I'm here talking about some of my favorite musicians in the area and beyond. Also, just some of my favorite creators and people putting things out into the world. Thank you so much for listening today. A huge thank you again to A B3ing for bringing her cool, sultry, smooth, excellent speaking, talking, answering of my very weird questions. And she gave the best answers to the questions. My questions were like, I don't tell music. What is that? Thank you so much for coming onto it. I love your music, whatever it's called, trip hop, chill wave, trance, hopscotch, whatever people end up calling it. The progressive feel of your music is awesome. And I hope that you guys listening today enjoy it as well. Again, it's A B3ing on all of the streaming platforms. Right here in my own backyard here in the Tampa Bay area is where she's at. But her music can reach far and wide off planet. Mars. This music should be played on Mars when we all live there eventually. So anyway, thank you guys again for listening. I'm babbling again, and we'll see you in the next podcast, whatever the heck this is. Yes. Okay, bye. I love you guys.